destitutes, I say, oh, let it not come and spoil the majority. It means you are planning wrongly. But I can tell you, we have no record. If you walk on the streets, if you go to places like Ajegunle, you enter into somewhere after Ijesha, and you see people. Even though they are coming out from houses, these people are sick. They have different type of ailment. When you see them, you will know. Even small children, just from their looks alone, you know that something is wrong. So what data are you going to use? Are you going to go and treat those children? No, you don't even have the data. You don't even know they are there. But in a good country, they check you. From birth, they look at you and they first test you for over 300 diseases. We don't do that here. If you go to the maternity, you see people dying. Why? Money was budgeted to make that place comfortable. It wasn't spent. There are so many things that must be in place. If we have records, it shows that, look, this money you want to spend, your salary is 10 naira. How come you are spending 1 million naira? And what are you even spending that money on? When you start spending the money, it looks funny. If you bring out $1,000 cash anywhere in the world, as at today, they will, if you are not careful, they will call the police on you. That what are you doing with such cash? Because it's an abnormality for them. But here, in an evening, people spend 40 million naira. On a weekend, by Sunday, the money is finished. What did they spend it on? Nothing productive. And nobody frowns at it. If you tell somebody, oh, take it easy, this money you are spending could have been spent for, he starts telling you, oh, I'm not the one to take care of that stuff. But we are losing it. Because if you have if the number of the downtrodden becomes too high, those up there will not be able to enjoy their wealth, either properly gotten wealth or ill-gotten wealth.
You think the poor or the needy are properly being taken care of, at least to some extent, or do you think that what areas can we improve upon, by the way?
You see, certain basic things should be in place to take care of the needs of the needy, like water, housing, shelter. Once these are taken care of, certain people who don't mind because they know that they have a subsistence source of income. They will survive on that little because they know they will not be homeless. They can feed themselves with the little they are getting. But so once you are homeless, it affects the person's psyche. Is easily influenced by mischievous people. They bring them into bad gangs and they can now start committing crime.
So what's the way forward?
The way forward is to invest on basic necessities, water, light, education, roads. Make sure things are in place. Averagely, we're not saying give people money. People don't need money. They need things to survive on. Money itself doesn't better one's life. Because if you keep 10 million in one room, it will not transform the person's health.
You know, it reminds us of destitutes. For instance, what the Lagos State government is doing, taking destitutes off the street. Is this as a result of corruption in the country? And by the way, you're a lawyer. What's the Constitution saying about people living in places other than their areas of origin?
You see, when the issue of deportation, in quotes, came up, it just took me back to where I feel we were. We are still so far behind. As early as 1948, United Nations has said, look, you cannot even move people from where they choose to be in, except they fall below certain accepted standards. Like if they become criminals and you know the country they are coming from, you take them to that country. The constitution is very clear. Wherever you choose to be as a Nigerian, you are allowed to be there. These are fundamental rights. What has happened in Lagos State is that certain things were wrongly done. There was a home for destitutes set up by Lagos State government. Why can't they set up more homes? If you have more people there, and who says if you rehabilitate this person, he will not become useful to the state? There are, many Nigerians jump into a plane, they leave this country, they enter a place like Germany. They tear their Nigerian passport and say, hey, we don't know where we're coming from, there's war in our country, blah, blah, blah. They keep them in a camp. They don't bring them here massively. They keep them there and keep feeding them, teaching them one skill or another. They become helpful to the society. When they are ready to come back, they will now say, oh, I'm actually from Nigeria. And it's not a problem for them. They have learned one skill or another. That the German government will not allow you to stay there without learning something. The problem most of the Nigerians have is that they can't even speak the language and they don't want to learn it because of the laziness they came with. But if you are ready to learn, you will see them working in good places. They teach them one skill or another and they learn, they work. But here, why do you want to send me to a place I ran away from if I'm actually from that place? There are so many services that are unattended in Lagos. If you look for certain technicians, you won't get. Their numbers are depleting. Train these people. They can become tailors, they can become vulcanizers, they can become plumbers, electricians. If you look at those fields, their numbers are reducing. They can become technicians.
Do you not think that it's a problem with which side of the story we decide to go with? You know, because from your own explanation now, it doesn't seem that, you know, you also heard the side of the Lagos State government. They say that they do have a center. It's also a skills acquisition center in Ikorodu there, and that these people were taken there for a while, and these people said they wanted to go home. You know, these are all the things that we haven't considered. At that particular point in time, what exactly do you quarrel with? Is it the policy of, you know, is it how it was done, or the fact that these people, you know, were taken home?
You see, no matter what part we have heard, what is not in doubt is that there was a deliberate policy or a deliberate attempt to say, hey, look, you have two options. One is we help you go home, and the other one is you find yourself home. What has happened is, look, if these people were known as Lagosians, they won't have that option of being sent somewhere else, you know? And the truth is that some people claiming to be Lagosians settled in this place, and some don't even have skills. Some don't have anything to show for their being here. So, but you must be productive in any part of Nigeria where you are. Because my argument is this. If you find yourself in Sokoto and you now have a skill that is good for that environment, why should you be forced to come back to maybe Delta or Abia State, wherever the person is from?
The question will be this. If, for instance, I'm mentally challenged, and we all know how mentally challenged people can walk, you wonder, your family doesn't know where you are, or maybe for reasons, the stigma attached to it. You've been left to wander. You wander to another state, you're picked up there, you're sent to a rehabilitation home, you come to your senses, or you come to yourself, and you say you want to go home. You know, is it wrong, according to, because that's a version of this Lagos State government, what do you expect the state government to do at that particular point in time?
Oh, you don't, if you are sending somebody home, if you are sending me home, you don't drop me immediately after a bridge. You must know where I'm going to.
That's why I'm asking that. Is it, what do you quarrel with? Is it how it was done? Assuming that's your own side of the story, you know, and assuming it was correct, and that was the fact, assuming, what would you quarrel with? Is it the policy itself of saying, we've gotten in touch with your state government, they haven't answered us, you know, we're taking you home regardless, and you dropped, you know, Upper Iweka in the middle of the night? What would you quarrel with?
Is the taking me home without my state government saying you should bring me? You know, how do you know whether when I get there I won't be killed? Maybe the thing that caused the madness was they tried to use the person for human sacrifice. You now take me to that same place where I'm not safe. You have to ascertain where I'm going. Once you claim that where you are coming from there is war, they can't send you back there until they have seen that the war has stopped and that there's no threat, further threat of it. That was why during the Abacha regime, most countries were giving Nigerians asylum because there was threat and it was visible. After the regime, nobody could use that as an excuse for seeking it.
Okay, then thank you for coming on. Emeka Onohwakpor, a legal practitioner and an analyst. Well, back after this break. Join us again.
Some say it's a sharp pain.